Hello, and welcome to this episode of Hampton Roads Business Live. My name is Rory Graham, and my guest today is Heather Brinkman from Five Rings Financial. Welcome.
Thank you, Rory. Happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about Five Rings Financial. What is? Give us a little overview.
Okay, great. You're familiar with a Charles Schwab or a Merrill Lynch brokerage? They work with millionaires or big money.
Okay.
Well, Five Rings Financial is very similar to that, except we work with middle Americans.
Okay.
We feel that middle Americans are really the most underserved market and they need the most help. So that's what we do. We are brokers ourselves, so we're able to access hundreds of products, finding the best product to tailor for our clients' needs. We're based out of Littleton, Colorado, which is right near Denver. Our company is over 10 years old, and we have about 4,000 independent agencies throughout the country, and I believe we're in 43 states now.
But Five Rings is local in
We are
Virginia
local.
Beach.
Our local office is in Virginia Beach, near town center.
Okay. And what sets, there's a lot of financial service places and I guess insurance, brokerage, all these different firms. And so what sets you apart from those? And what do you think makes you different?
Yep. We are an educational-based financial services company. We host educational events throughout the country to educate middle Americans about the fundamentals and principles of money. We teach middle Americans about how to grow and protect their money without ever risking it in the market. We teach them how to
That would be good.
Yeah, exactly, especially these days, right?
No kidding.
And we actually also help them build a retirement with tax-free income for the rest of their life that they can never outlive. We find that when we do these events, that typically there's two types of people that come to our events. Those people who have never, well, actually those people who have some sort of retirement plan. May not be huge, but they've got some sort of retirement plan, they've got some money, and their biggest concern is protecting that money. They know what happened in 2001, they know what happened in 2008 when we had these terrible stock market crashes, and they don't want to risk that money. Too many people lost half their income twice, or half their savings twice. So we have those types of people, and then we have people who don't have any kind of savings, no retirement plan, nothing. Now they may have had something, but they lost it all, or they had to use it because of an emergency, so they're starting all over. We find now that pretty much the average person starting a retirement plan these days is 56 years old, which is not the best scenario, but it is the scenario, it is what it is. So we teach people it's not too late to start, but obviously the younger you are, the better you are.
Right. Okay. And these seminars or these educational events, as you call them, you have them locally here?
We do have them locally. We have them throughout the country, and we do them locally. We have several different ones that we do locally.
Okay. Is this a quarterly thing, a monthly thing, or?
Typically monthly. We have several different events. So some of them are monthly, some of them are about every 5-6 weeks, some of them are weekly. So it depends on what you're talking about.
Now you're talking, you call them educational events, and I know that, our wonderful school system doesn't teach you anything about finances.
Exactly.
And I know that's a sore spot for a lot of financial people. They go, nope. It's not even taught,
right.
And that's a shame. But sometimes when you're talking to an insurance agent or a financial person, sometimes, I don't know, it's everybody, but certainly me, a lot of the stuff is over your head.
Right.
You get the idea, you get the gist of it, but you're you might be apprehensive because you don't fully understand it. Are your events easy to understand, or do they, for someone like that that's not a financial background,
right.
And all, it's confusing. It can be confusing,
Very confusing.
Insurance agent always looks at goes over the policy and says, and you got this and this and this table and that table. You understand? You go, yeah, you don't understand.
Right.
Right. So is your stuff easy to understand?
Ours is totally easy to understand. Well, first of all, we have several different events, so I want to tell you a little bit about them.
Okay.
First of all, they're all free. which is great, right?
Oh, everybody likes free.
We like free. We don't stick sticky name tags on you unless you want to put one on yourself. We don't hunt people down. We're not selling anything, so it's no pressure, right? We want people to come and learn. We have a few different events. Our signature event is called Money 101. We do that about once every 5-6 weeks here locally. The president of our company, Mike Wilk, flies into town. He's this great guy, ball of energy, so dynamic, and makes money fun, in which we don't think of money as being very fun, right? Mm-hmm. He teaches it in a way that everyone understands it. For the first time I actually went to a Money 101 event, I was like hooked, because I had been to so many. My husband and I have both been to several money events of some sort of another, either here locally in Northern Virginia or in San Diego, my home. And always quite a bit over my head, maybe not my husband's, but my head. So the first time I went to a Money 101, I was like, oh my God, I finally understand this for the first time in my life. That's what I love about this company and what we do. So Money 101 is for middle Americans to really teach you the fundamentals of money, to teach you how to do all these things yourself, right? To teach you the basics in life about money, those things that can
things the education system never taught you.
Exactly. Well, that's the whole problem. You know, all the things we should have learned in school, but unfortunately they never taught. Not our fault. We were never taught those things. So that's why middle Americans are why they are in the bind.
Experience is a hard teacher.
Exactly.
And tuition's really high.
Extremely high. Extremely high.
Right.
So that's what we're so proud of that event. That's just one of our events we do. We also do one for women. It's called Wine, Women, and Wealth.
I was going to ask you about that, because
awesome.
What's the difference in focused on women for a reason? Well,
exactly.
Obviously, but what is that reason?
Well, let me tell you, Money 101 is for men and women. It's for everybody, and we invite people to come back over and over and over again, because you know a person has to hear things about 5, 6, 7 times to actually get it in their brain. We want to help them immediately if they're ready for help, but if they're not, up to them. We're not going to chase them. Wine, Women, and Wealth is a great event for women, and what that is, that's just so you'll know, it's a little bit of financial education, a little wine tasting. We all love wine, but you don't have to drink wine to be there, just so you know, and a little social networking with the ladies, and the ladies love that. And the reason we really market to the women are because of some really bad statistics out there. First of all, 50% of marriages end out there. Okay, within the first year of a divorce, a woman's income level drops 73%. Pretty scary. 90% of all women will be the sole responsible. They'll be financially responsible for all the money at some point in their life, but only 2% of those ladies are actually even ready for that. Right?
So
there
all
could
of
be
them
a divorce.
just leave it to their husband, and
well, that's what we were doing. That's what we were brought up to do. Now, the younger gals out there, they may have been taught a little bit differently. But you know, I come from a really traditional home. Dad took care of everything. That's the men in the family took care of the money. The women learned everything else. Okay, so that's a big problem. The other thing is 75% of women will become widowers. Will become widows.
Yeah, you all always outlive us.
Well, we do. I hate to say it, but we do. The gap is getting a little bit closer, though, so just so you know that. But the average age of a woman becoming, you know, her husband dying.
Dead.
Dead. Nice way to put it. There's no nice way to put it. 56 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
That
So, I mean, that's a really scary, scary thing. And if that happens, and you're not prepared for that, it can be really, really awful.
Right.
87% of all poverty-stricken elderly are women. So women, the biggest concern for all
it's
of us...
Well, it's because the men are dying off.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And they didn't leave us any money, darn it.
That's right.
Okay. So, but, you know, we women, we're really concerned about the 3 B's out there. Being broke, being a burden to our family, our children, anybody who will take us in, and being a bag lady. We don't want that. So what Wine, Women, and Wealth does is it really teaches women, it empowers women, and teaches them financial topics that they really need to know in life. Plus, it's just a great event, and
Well, that sounds like a really
women love
worthwhile thing you're
Yeah,
doing
it is.
there. That's
It is.
great to because I bet a lot of people don't realize those statistics. I
Right.
didn't. I'd never heard that.
No, it's very scary. And in fact, we've had women. One of our first Wine, Women, and Wealth events that we did, 2.5 years ago. And this is what was so eye-opening for me was a woman came and she started breaking down crying at the event, and we thought, what is going on? Now, there's always a lot of tears at our events. Not always, but there have been. She had just lost her husband, probably 2 months before, never had dealt with finances ever in her life. She was, of course, stricken with sadness because of the loss of her husband, but most importantly, she didn't know what to do, where to turn to, never even did a checkbook. So you have women out there, and it's really scary. So we feel like we're really doing something really important out there for women.
And that's local too.
We do.
Okay.
Yep,
well,
I do one right in, just so you know, we do one, Mary Fisher and myself, my partner, we do one right in Virginia Beach Town Center at Simply Fresh.
Okay.
So, which is great.
All right. Well, that sounds like a fun event, but
Yeah.
also a very worthwhile learning experience,
It
especially
is.
for women.
Right, it is.
Okay. And the Money 101 sounds like a good experience for anybody as
For
far
anybody.
as learning your basic education about
Yeah.
money. I wanted to talk about this. I wrote this down. The living benefit. When we spoke, you talked about that, and I found that very interesting. Can you explain what that is? And
Sure. Most people who have life insurance, they think of life insurance as basically death insurance. The money never goes to anybody unless somebody dies, right? Well, this is what is called living insurance. It's a new kind of insurance, okay? So, most people don't just die, right? And I know you and I have both experienced, because we've had a little conversation about that. We've talked about people in our families or people that we've known who've gotten really sick before they've died. Did you know that number one reason for foreclosures and bankruptcies in this country is because someone gets sick? 75% of those people, they actually have health care insurance, but that didn't help them. So when somebody gets sick, terrible things happen to a family. So with this living benefits policy, if you become terminal, meaning you have 24 months or less to live, here in Virginia, that's what 24 months, some states it's just 12 months, or they have a critical illness, they have a heart attack, a stroke, a cancer, those big things that can happen in life, a lot of times you'll come back from it, but it's going to take a while to get better, right? If you don't have all that concern and stress about, how's my family going to survive while I'm sick, we've got all these bills, et cetera, it can make your recovery time a lot quicker, just because you don't have that stress. It can really help the family out because you get a big chunk of money up front. Then the other thing that can happen is that you could have a chronic illness. Somebody, it could have been they just have had a bad accident they were in, and now they're laid up for 6 months, a year while they're recuperating, right? Could be somebody who's got a terrible illness. They're in a home, or they need to be in a home. They need to have somebody taking care of them because they can't do the basic daily, activities of daily living. So they need to have help.
And that can be pricey.
It's extremely pricey. I think the average home in Virginia is $7,000 per month. It varies across the country. In New York, it's about $20,000 a month. So your health care is really not going to cover that. So you've got to have some sort of plan. With the life insurance with living benefits, if you have the right kind of plan, it can certainly help that, because the money comes becomes out of the face value, the death value. It comes out early,
And
so
you don't
that
have
you
to
can
die
do that.
to get it.
You don't have to die to get it, which is the most awesome thing. So there are companies out there who advertise that they have living benefits. It's not the same. This is a true living benefits policy, and I think it's what everyone in America should have. It's what I have. It's what I want everyone to know about it, because it's so important. Why waste your money?
All right. And all this is through an A-rated carrier.
All the companies that we use are A and A plus rated. This one company that I deal with a lot here, when I have my own policy through, they are a 165-year-old company, A plus rated. They're actually the ones who started living benefits over 7 years ago, and we love them because of it. There's nothing like it.
Okay. Well, that's That sounds like a really interesting twist.
Yeah, it really is.
And actually a needed one for a lot of people.
You know, if you build a policy properly, and I didn't say this about one of the things that we really teach in our Money 101 workshops, is we're all about building a tax-free retirement income. That tax-free, you got to remember, life insurance is the only thing out there where money can transfer tax-free. It's written into the tax code. It's how it was started hundreds of years ago, insurance, and that's how all the really wealthy people transferred money to their families, tax-free, right? So that's how insurance is done still to this day. The money goes tax-free. So you can tap into that policy because you're sick, get that money tax-free. You can also build an income with that same policy so you can get money to live your life tax-free. As long as we plan it properly up front, it's an amazing policy that you can have.
Okay, and you don't have to have, hundreds of thousands of dollars to start that.
Nope, you sure don't. Not at all.
Okay. All right. Okay, and I'm sure everybody will be calling you to find out more about
Well, I hope so.
that would be nice, wouldn't it? So I had down here, and you already answered that not every insurance company has that, or not every company offers
about
that.
900 insurance companies that are out there, only about 2% offer it.
Okay.
And not all of them are exactly the same. This company that we offer, the most robust plan you will ever see.
Okay, all right. And now we were talking before this interview, and the thing came out of a difference between term insurance and permanent. Yeah, I have trouble with that word.
Okay.
Insurance, which is why I was going to skip that question. but since I've already embarrassed myself, can you tell us what the difference is?
Sure, I'd love to. Great question, because a lot of people are confused about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same as renting versus owning, okay? A term policy, you're basically running a policy for a certain given amount of years. 5-year policy, 10-year policy, 15-year policy, 20, 25, or 30-year policy. Once that term is over, it is over, okay?
So any money you put into it is gone.
Right. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. Now, the great thing is with our living benefits, you can actually still get those living benefits for the terminal, critical, and chronic in that term policy, but once again, if you don't use it, you lose that, okay? A permanent policy can be an index universal life policy, which is my favorite. It can be a whole life policy. There's a couple different types of policy out there. They're permanent. You can build them to last your entire lifetime. If you build them properly, you're going to build a tax-free retirement that you can't outlive. So permanent versus...
Well, that's one of the problems nowadays is people are living longer.
Right. Oh my gosh,
that's
yeah.
not a problem. Well, it's a problem financially.
It's a problem if you don't have enough money. That's when it's a problem.
And of course that can lead into other healthcare costs, regardless of what the healthcare situation really is at the time. but it can lead into extra added costs like getting someone to help you at home or a nursing home or some of these other things. So when you're looking at the future, you have a longer span of time to consider.
Right.
So insurance it becomes more of, instead of just I guess what you're saying is with the whole life, not whole life, with permanent. I'm sorry. With that, it gives you more options to provide for yourself later on for a longer period of time, which you didn't have, which we didn't really worry about that much before. But
I can build a policy that goes till you're 120 years old. Now, we don't live to 120 years right now, but there are babies being born today that are going to live to about 110. That is what they're expecting. Right now, I think the average life expectancy they show for those people coming into age is 92 for a man, 94 for a woman. Somewhere right around there. So people are living longer, but with that comes maybe they're having to live through some sort of health crisis at the same time. Modern medicine is wonderful because they've found cures for a lot of things, but that means they keep people alive for a lot longer than sometimes they should be. That doesn't sound right, but sometimes it's really expensive to live.
Well, yeah.
And you have to think about that.
Well, you get past an age of being able to work.
Yeah.
So now you're, either living off of a savings or somebody
Right.
else or.
And people are having to work longer, or they retired and now they're having to go back into the workforce. A few weeks ago, when it was really cold, I had gone to the grocery store and I was sitting out in my car on a phone call, and I saw a gentleman. He must have been, I would bet he was in his 80s. He was out there pushing carts, and it was so cold, and I thought, oh my God, I feel so awful for that man. He probably has no choice, and he needs to find some source of income. What are people going to do when they're older? Companies are downsizing. You have these young kids people are hiring. And for all of us, I'm in that baby boomer area. We get a little bit nervous out there. There's all these young kids they're bringing in, and they're pushing us out. So, yeah, it's very scary. But if you don't have a pension, and pensions have pretty much gone away, there's not a whole lot of them out there anymore. My dad had a great pension from a company he worked for, I think 40 years. That doesn't even happen anymore.
Right.
His pension, he got a pension check every month until the day he died.
And includes benefits, all kinds of stuff.
Exactly.
And that doesn't happen anymore. And this is what I've when you're talking about like these states and things that have these outrageous pension plans that were negotiated,
Right.
the math doesn't work. You
No.
can tell there's no way that there's not enough money to cover that at all.
It's scary.
So it is scary because, of course, a lot of these people that retired were betting on that because that's what they were told. But, anyway, I was getting into something else.
Well, you think about all the people who had built up this beautiful pension, in a 401k or whatever kind of pension plan they had, that was all market related, because that's what all of those plans are. 2001 came. They lost 45% of that money. They
Right.
thought that would never happen again. They built that account back up, ready to retire. 2008 came. They lost 54%. They lost half their money twice.
Right.
So, and then they have to retire on what? And then they have to think about taxes. Taxes are not, we're actually at a really low point.
The insurance stuff, this isn't based in the stock market.
No, nothing. We teach people how they can gain all the benefits of a good market, but they don't have to take the falls. So when the money goes up, your money goes up, but when that market falls, your money stays right here.
So if they're tired of playing the roller coaster, they can get off and
Exactly.
get on the interstate.
Exactly. Yeah, I never want to lose any money again. My husband and I lost a lot of money. So we were part of those people who had to kind of somewhat start over.
Right, right. Okay, and my next question was about pensions, which is why we continue to talk about that. And let's see, my question there was that right now the market is better than it was in 2008, but that should be a warning to us, though,
Right.
that it's going to happen again, or it can happen again.
Average every decade there's been some sort of a crash. We had one in 2001. It's every time that the market's gone to the peak that it's dropped. Okay, happened in 2001, happened in 2008. We're right now at the peak again. What's going to happen? It's really scary. So I tell anybody who's got an old 401k, 403b, a TSP, for a company that they used to work for, you better get it out of there and put it someplace into safety. That safety is key these days if you want to actually have a nice retirement.
Right. Okay.
And you don't want to be like the gentleman pushing the carts at 80.
Yeah, or the greeter at Walmart.
Or a greeter at Walmart.
Right.
You have to build a lot of Walmarts.
Now, a lot of people have an advisor, a financial advisor. So what is your advice to them about if they already have somebody?
Well, they probably already have somebody that they already trust, and that's great. They may have been with them for years, and that is great. We like that, and I think that's a wonderful thing. But just like we have to diversify our money, you should also diversify your advisors, because maybe your old advisor can only sell what they can sell. It's the old stuff, and they don't even know anything about the new stuff or what's even available. So we always just say, we we appreciate and love that you love your advisors, but you should probably diversify and look, just talk to another advisor just
Second
to make
opinion?
sure. Second opinion, just like a doctor. You want to find out what's really out there and available to you.
Okay, and it could be that your advisor has blinders on as far as a certain part of the market or something, doesn't even know.
There's a lot of people that there's a lot of advisors out there that love the market. They love that risky thing and they find it sexy. We don't find it so sexy because we find sexy is the real stable, steady thing where you can't lose your money. We find that to be sexy.
Okay. All right. Is there anything I haven't talked about that you'd like to mention?
I don't know. I just think that, people need to really understand what's available out there. They need to get smart. They need to take their finances in their own hands and not trust everybody out there. I mean, you can Google things out on the market. You can look on the internet. But you really need to get with the right people. So I say, if you really want to look to see what you have, give me a call. I'll look at what you've got, see if there's something we can do better. It may be that you're in a perfect situation, maybe not. We don't know, right? But until we look at it, maybe try to find some extra money for you. We can refinance your finances just like you refinance your mortgage. We teach you how to do all that in Money 101. So come to a Money 101, give me a call.
Doesn't cost anything.
Doesn't cost a darn thing. Just come and listen. Bring something to write on because you'll definitely want to take notes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Great.
So.
All right. Well, if you are nearing a retirement age, or maybe not, maybe you're preparing for a retirement age. I'm sorry. If you're preparing or would like to be able to retire at some point in time, or you're just confused about money. You're confused about finances, or think, you know what, maybe it's time I learn a little bit about that too, then you would want to contact Heather at Five Rings Financial. Her contact information is at the end of this video, and it's also on this page. And they have seminars, which I'm sure are posted on their website as to the times and places for the seminars. It's free, and a second opinion is always a good thing. So I thank you very much for coming in. I wish you a great deal of success, but it sounds like you're already there.
Doing well.
All right, thanks.
Thanks so much.
All right,
appreciate
bye-bye.
it.